Mercedes.
And I'm Adrienne.
And we are definitely not the Smiley twins.
No, not even close.
No. So I'm the Director of Training and Strategic Growth for Smiley Aesthetics. And sweet Adrienne.
I'm the VP of Strategic Growth and Clinical Services. So we work very closely together.
Yes, we do. Yeah. And so really, we just kind of wanted to talk about what it means to onboard with Smiley. We get a lot of questions about that. We have people that come to trainings and they don't really know exactly what it means. So we thought it would just be helpful to kind of go over it a little bit.
Definitely. And I think you get that a lot more than me, especially like being director of training. You get all those emails and it's always scary when you're like, what does it mean to onboard? And some people don't even know. And there's so many companies that kind of do what we do. Obviously, we're a unique model. But it's always scary to think about like, okay, is this a scam?
Right. Yeah. Are they going to take my money and am I being taken advantage of?
It is. And as healthcare providers, I had this conversation with multiple, like Kira, we talk about this all the time. You know, we're not salespeople at all. And so when like a good opportunity like presents itself, it's like, wait.
Is this too good to be true?
No, this, no, absolutely not.
Not real life.
No. So yeah, I definitely want you to talk about like questions that you get a lot because you really get flooded with emails.
Yeah. Yep. Sometimes the floodgates open. So a really common question is, do I get a medical director? That's number one. I think that trying to find a medical director is probably like on your own is probably one of the hardest things that you can do.
And not only that, but a lot of people, you know, when they think about a medical director, what does that even
mean?
Right? Because in the hospital, it's like, you know, you put your scrubs on, you grab your keys, you go into work, and you take care of the patient, essentially. And yeah, you work closely with the doctor, but it's like the doctor actually relies more on you.
Yeah.
And so you're just so used to being like going to the hospital and not even have to like, what is a medical?
You don't have to think about that.
You know, no, not at all.
Everything's provided for you.
Yeah. And then like which is crazy. Every state's so different, like nurse practitioners, PAs, you know, just figuring out what is a medical director and then not being screwed.
Yeah, because they can really do whatever they want in a contract. And if you don't know any better, then that's it.
No, and it's really scary when you start talking about like, okay, well, I want this percentage of your, you know, of your business. Well, why?
You're right.
Why? Like, you're not doing anything.
You're not doing anything.
Your name's on my door. Like,
and you're reviewing my charts.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right. My sister lives in Florida, and before I even started getting into aesthetics, I remember I went with her to her Botox appointment, and I was talking to him, and he was a PA, and he was like, oh yeah, all you need is the doctor's name on the board, and you sign him a check every month. I'm like, well, I want to go to MB school.
Right. That sounds easy.
Right. But obviously for us to navigate that part and knowing like, hey, you're not being screwed.
Yeah.
Is really great, I think. I don't know.
Yeah. And just like the legal requirements from state to state. Like for instance, in Tennessee, your medical director is supposed to do a monthly visit, right? Mm-hmm. We see Dr. Pickens. He comes and does monthly visits with us.
He does. All of our med spas, that man travels very, very far.
Yeah. So I think just knowing like as a nurse, okay, I've never had to get my own patients. They come to me whether or not I want them, right? Especially like Adrienne and I, we both had background in the ER. They came to us whether or not we wanted them. And then, you know, anything legally that needed to be done was laid out for us, like our policies, our procedures,
consents.
Yeah. Your charting system.
Document, like those like quick click buttons that you just like memorize. You're like, yes, yes, no, yes, yes, no.
Yeah.
Like,
and I was a Meditech girl, so everything was on the keyboard. I never had to use my mouse at all.
Oh, you're Meditech?
Yeah, and it had all these little like special key things I could do.
Meditech. I was Cerner.
Oh, I couldn't do Cerner.
I was Cerner. That was my jam.
So yeah, it's like you get a job at the hospital. Everything is laid out for you. You don't have to think about any of that stuff. So
I think a lot of the stuff we provide is pretty much, we're going to definitely like break it down, but everything is provided. Not medical director, all of your consents, start charting, you know.
Yeah, and I had one of the injectors from another state, Elizabeth, she comes and assists at a lot of trainings with me, and she said, you need to start telling the trainees that dot phrases are there. She was like, that's huge to people to know that they have that, because it just makes your charting so much easier.
Yeah.
So you literally just hit dot.
I'm glad you brought that up though. So I was working with Carla about like working on our policies and procedures. We're like wrapping things up with a beautiful bow. And my background, like you said, is ER, and I did wound care and I worked with general surgery. So like doing policies and procedures, I'm fish out of water, right? I don't know what I'm doing. Learn something new every day. And when I was writing our policies and procedures, especially on documentation, those dot phrases, as amazing as they sound, and they do make our life significantly easier, just like anything in the medical charting, right? But like anyone who looks at that, like from an outsider, like, oh, so that one specific phrase fits everybody. And it's like, whoa, you're right. Time out. Like, so as much as I agree with you, we have to tell people about that.
Right.
We also have to be very careful. Like, you know, you also have to uniquely like talk about each patient.
Right.
Like our dot phrases, we discuss, areas we treated, but like you have to take the time to go through and like delete the things that you didn't treat.
Right. And add the things that you did.
Exactly. Yeah. Because if you didn't document it,
you didn't do it.
You didn't do it. Yeah. Or if you did document it and you didn't do it, it's like,
that's even worse.
It's even worse.
Yeah.
So yes, having that dot phrase is absolutely, I love our dot phrases.
But you have to take the time to read through it.
Just like a nurse. And I'm guilty where I would get click, 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 click. But that just like opened my eyes because I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's little things like that that like Carla and Mary and Courtney just like bring to your attention that I'm like, you guys are geniuses. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, we're very fortunate to have them leading us.
Yeah, even you, because I rely heavily on you on those policies. So thank you.
But I mean, you're right. I was thinking about that. I was doing Botox on someone yesterday.
Yeah.
And I think it says in there like, client tolerated well or something.
And they didn't.
She didn't. She had a hard time. She had a hard time, Not all of our clients are, they don't all tolerate needles the same way.
Well, even today, like our conversation with our other provider who we love at our med spa, collaboration. She reached out to us and we all work together in the same med spa, and she's an amazing injector, and she had someone who bruised, and she's like, can you just talk to me about this? Like,
just make me feel a little better. Talk me off the ledge.
Talk me off the ledge. And of course, we talked about it. She injected over 72 hours ago. She was getting a bruise on, and she's like, what do you think I should do? And I'm like, of course, my answer is always, you can see them, lay eyes on them, do it. Have them come in. You can do your assessment. You can check cap refill. Always document it. Even if she refused and she still sent you pictures, upload it. Talk about the conversation you had, because she might say, yeah, it's not painful. It's getting better, yada, yada, yada. I don't think I need to come in.
Document the heck out of that.
Because if in another 24 hours that doesn't happen, you're protecting yourself. And I just think having that, she even said, like, thank you for talking me off a ledge, because when you are opening your own med spa and doing things on your own, you're doing it on your own.
You are.
You really
very
are.
different than the hospital.
And I think that's a really scary, like, I think about all the times when I'm injecting it, and I'm even around like you or Jesse or Mary, it's like, I feel very confident injecting, but having someone there to like,
just bounce ideas off of.
Do you want to come see this?
Yeah. What do you think?
What do you think? Like, I like that in our community alone, man, the questions, we learn something new every day, and someone asks a question and not feeling alone.
Yeah, especially in our injector chat.
Yeah.
I mean, we have are we close to 130 now?
Something like
people in our injector chat. So there's always someone there to bounce that idea off of.
Absolutely. And, even looking back at before and after pictures, you're never alone, I guess. And when you open up a med spa by yourself, man, I couldn't imagine. Like, you really need to have like your
ducks in a row.
Your ducks in a row.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So one of our contract trainers that we just hired in Georgia, and she's a nurse practitioner, owns her own med spa. She was, she had come in, like, she came to the Nashville class last week and was telling,
I love her.
I know, she's the sweetest.
I know.
She was telling the trainees how when she started, it took her 3 months after, so first off, she took her basic class, and at the end of her basic class, she asked if she could sign up for the advanced. She's like, I love this. This is amazing. This is what I want to do. And so, but she said it took her 3 months after she took her class to get a medical director. her policies and procedures written, her products or like the accounts made with all of the companies, her products ordered. It was a full 3 months before she could get to where she was ready to go with her own med spa. Wow. So I think about when I joined.
Yeah.
I took my class. And I probably emailed within a day or two saying that I wanted to onboard. I was ready to go, and I got everything sent in. I'm pretty sure I was ready to buy product within, it was a 2-week period. I'm actually 100% positive. It was like 11 days.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I was in our documentation system. I had access to Allie to do Allie points. I had a medical director. I had you as my nurse practitioner who I bugged the bejesus out of on a regular basis, and might have driven clients to her house because their lip filler scared the crap out of me. So
Community.
Yeah, we've evolved. Now we text each other instead of, invading someone's life. And then, I had product. Like I was ready to go. All of the policies, procedures, consents, everything in our charting system was ready to go so that I could literally start injecting someone and not lose that confidence that I built up from class.
And I'm glad you bring that up because losing that confidence, like after training, right? One training alone, especially any training you take.
Yeah.
We're teaching you the safeties. We're teaching you the fundamentals. We're making sure that like you are understanding what you're doing with that needle when you're injecting that person's face, lips, whatever it is. We have a lot of injectors, even who don't onboard with us, who do reach out to us after training, asking like to shadow, asking about like, hey, can I follow you? And those are great resources, right? Watching videos, absolutely. But one thing in my role that I'm very, very passionate about is, yes, this can be a side hustle to one person. Absolutely. We support that. And then you have the other person on the other opposite spectrum who's like, this is going to be my full-time job. I'm opening a med spa. I want to do this all day, every day. Awesome. It doesn't matter which tail end you're on, right? You still need to continue to practice. So I'm very passionate about is, especially onboarding with us, like you need to have a requirement of injecting, especially after that one single training. Because even if you do a one-on-one training, you're only getting a limited amount of time injecting and learning, right? And doing those hands-on.
Your brain only holds so much.
Exactly. In those days, like I'm exhausted, and they're exhausted and you're still scared and you're still nervous. And it's like, you got to just jump off that cliff. And what I found, especially as I've grown into my role, is the longer our injectors are waiting to inject, especially derma filler, the more they lose their confidence, they're scared, and then they're missing out on those, like, taking that advanced course because, like, oh, well, I had people talking about doing, cheeks and chin and jaw, but I've only had one lip client. It's like, girl, why do you only have one lip? And she's just, they're not nervous. They're nervous. Yeah. And I get that. We've all been nervous, and you should be. Absolutely.
Yes, it is someone's face.
But practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
And I do think that, part of my job is making sure that even if you are doing it part-time, you still need to be out there honing in on your skills and utilizing what you learned in training so you don't lose it. So then when that person does book that lip, you're ready. Still a little nervous. Absolutely. But I bet you feel a lot better because you've already done a few and you have that in your back pocket.
Yeah, maintaining that competency is huge.
You do it in the hospital.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, health streams galore and everything else.
Yeah. We don't have that. So I'm just very passionate about it. Again, that might not be an injector growth thing.
It is. That's growth for sure.
Yeah.
I think it is.
I think it is. Sometimes I do feel bad for, the ones who are like, well, this is only my part-time and I'm only doing my family and friends. Absolutely. But you still don't want to cause
because your family and friends,
right? I'm like, that's the last person I want to like. I don't want
to hurt anybody, but
my sister, depending on the day, I want to drop it down, make her know who's boss. Just kidding. Allie, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry. I never dropped her brow though, but you know who's boss.
And I can't drop my mother's brow because she came to me because her neurologist dropped her brows all the time. So I have like really high standards to live up to there. I'm like, I'm better than your neurologist is what you're saying?
Can I have that on recording?
Right.
Absolutely. Like, yeah, but
do you know the first thing that I did after I took this class?
What?
The basic class?
Wait, time out. Let me guess. You went and you bought all the Tim Pierce videos. Oh
my gosh, yes.
Do you know how I know that?
Why?
Okay, because you did tell me.
I don't know. That's fair. Okay.
But that is just who you are. And I love that.
And it was like, as soon as I took the class, like, yeah, I learned the skills that I needed, but I also had that moment of like, oh God, there's a lot more I need to learn too. And it was like, yeah, I did learn the safety and, like the fundamentals to get out there and start. But I was like, I need more. I have to have more. And so, yeah, I obsess easily. Like, it's no secret. And who knows me knows that. So yeah, I bought a whole bunch of Tim Pierce stuff. And then I just spent like months upon months. Like my husband, he was literally like, can we watch anything but those injecting videos, please?
You watched them with your husband?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was what was on TV. There was,
wow.
Yeah, this was like breakfast, lunch, dinner. It was all the time.
I'm dead. My husband, he's my biggest fan. He's my biggest support. But I'm lucky to get like a pencil to his face. He did agree that next time we need a Botox model, he will.
Doug, really?
Oh,
you better have him tell Lane. That way my husband can do it too.
I don't think he'll let me do it in a big group setting.
Okay.
It had to be like a one-on-one.
Private. Okay, got it.
Private, but I think he's dabbling in that idea. I think he sees how good like I'm looking with my aesthetic.
Yeah.
He's like, man, I got to keep up with that.
That's right. He needs to. I don't even think if I paid my husband to get Botox, he would do it.
We should just we should actually do what's that? You see those people who wear matching outfits with their husbands. We should just like con them to come in and they don't even know what's happening and they just show up together.
That'd be great.
Right?
You should do that.
Okay, off topic, but we'll come to topic, but we'll come on back.
So I had another question that I get asked a lot.
Okay.
So I'm just an RN. You are not, but I am.
I hate when people say that. Okay.
But but it matters in this, right? And so one question I get asked a lot is, as just an RN, how do I practice legally?
Mm-hmm. That's scary.
Yeah. So
it really is.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want me to answer that?
That's your thing. You talk on
that. Is it? Well, as we know, in all states, you need to have, as an RN, it's out of your scope of practice to prescribe, right? Anything like Botox, Juvederm, vitamin injections.
Yeah.
Like even though you can get B12 sublingual over the counter.
Yeah.
You cannot be giving someone an injection. Yeah. Like that needs to be a prescription medication. So unfortunately, in all states, you're going to have a medical director and medical oversight. I don't even know why I can prescribe sometimes because it's just like, it still scares me. Because
well, that's good that you take it so seriously though,
Well, it's like, even though it's, Botox and the filler, and we know like you cannot really cause like the legal ramifications of aesthetic practice is like very, very low if you really think about it. But it is still scary knowing that like my license is on the line in a few states because, and we have this conversation all the time, like I trust a lot of our providers and our injectors, absolutely, but like this, still my license on the line.
It is.
I had a lot of faith in my nurses. Like, are you doing your due diligence and you're asking those questions? Are you blowing through them? Are you just hitting no and you're not really asking it? So that's scary. What was your question?
I just like, how is it that I can practice legally as a nurse? What is your role in that?
So our rule with Smiley is we do good faith exams, which I know Courtney has talked about this, but pretty much after you're in front of your client, you're going to do your assessment, just like you would triage, right? You're going to say, okay, name, age, you're in the age limit. What's your medical history? When was the last time you were treated? Because that is really important.
Yeah.
Skincare, like retinols. I know like a lot of people don't care about that, but
it can relate to other treatments.
It relates to other treatments, absolutely. And then you take your appropriate pictures and videos, and then you reach out to us, me or one of our other medical providers, APRNs or PAs, and we sign off. We give you the go-ahead.
Yeah.
And you can practice. Because, you've taken our class, we talk about dose equals duration. So I'm relying on, your judgment and expertise about what you're treating them with, right?
And we have the policy. We have a neurotoxin policy. We have a dermal filler policy, a chemical peel, a Kybella, so it's like, okay, yes, I've learned all these things, but I also have policies that I can refer to if I'm not quite sure. And then if I still don't know or I still have a question, I can reach out to you.
So I like how you say that, reach out to me, which obviously that's what we're here for. Just like if you're in the hospital, right?
Yeah.
You would reach out to your provider and be like, hey, like this person is crashing. Do you want me to hang some saline?
might have hung some saline, just like
might have hung some saline, like how, your relationship with your physician, right? But like, you're still a nurse.
Yeah.
So when people ask me questions like, is this okay? Is this okay? I used to always be like, yeah, like you're good on my end, but now I'm taking a step back because yes, this is aesthetics, but like you still need those critical thinking skills, right? And like, I am really trying to, I don't want to push people, but I'm like, I want you to think about why they couldn't or why they could, because it is important. It might be, a simple yes or no answer on my end, but I want you to critical think, because when you're on your own and, this happens again, I want you to be able to not only answer the question appropriately to your client, but I want you to explain why or why not.
Yeah, I really like that you said that, because I do get a lot of people, especially like my friends and family, asking me what made me decide not to be a nurse anymore and do this. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm a nurse every time I stab someone in the face, which is a lot. But not only that, I firmly believe this, if I didn't have my critical thinking skills that I have developed, I've been a nurse for 14 years, but a lot of that came from the acute care time in the ER. If I didn't have that, this would not come as, I don't want to say like it's easy, but I wouldn't be as comfortable with, with my assessing as I am.
Absolutely. And I think that just like being in the healthcare industry, ER, like no matter what department you work in, your communication skills.
Yeah.
That I feel like, I want to say we do require a minimum of 2 years of being a nurse before joining.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
I think that's right.
Yeah. Because a couple of reasons, right? Just like I couldn't be an APRN right out of the get-go after being a nurse. Like you need to build those skills, you need to learn. But just having that confidence to, even if I know this sounds bad, but like even if you don't have the answer, like how do you find it? How do you find it?
Yeah.
How do you like present yourself where you're not looking timid and shy, where that alone, it's like, that took me years. Even as a nurse practitioner, I had to start all over because I didn't know the answers when I started as an APRN, and I was that person now going in and prescribing.
Right.
So,
and that is why critical thinking is so important, because we're not going to know all the answers, but if we can think through it critically, it kind of changes everything.
You maybe like baloney some things, right? Like not baloney the facts.
Right. Well, and sometimes you just don't know, but it's like, hey, I don't know, but from my, years of experience, I can tell you that, XYZ is okay. So you're,
absolutely
keep me updated if something changes. You know what I mean?
Or simple as like, what, I don't know, but my gut is like fluttering. Let's be safe. And let me do my research and I'll get back to you.
And maybe just text me a photo of your lips every 2 hours for my own comfort,
Every okay. Woo, girl. I don't want to be on that end.
All right. Yes.
I'm paying for those photos.
Hey, that was just, that was an exaggeration. Let me tell you. I'm not asking for photos. Okay. Well, I mean, sometimes, hey, better safe than sorry, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so when you're on board with Smiley, you've got the medical director.
Yes.
If you're an RN, you have the good faith exams. And just as a sidebar, like I make a note, I tell my clients that I'm like, okay, I've got all my information in. We did consents, the questionnaire, the photos, the video. I just alerted my nurse practitioner or my mid-level, and they're going to review it and let me know when we're good to go. So let's kind of chit-chat for a minute until I get the go-ahead. And I do think that makes clients feel comfortable because they know that, I'm not just out there all willy-nilly.
Well, and it's really nice too, because I think you and I have talked about this before, when you're doing this, especially mobily, and you don't have a med spa, right? And you're going to people's houses or you're doing pop-up events. Like I have done so many pop-up events where people are like, how is this even legal? Like, and granted, I was this is state laws, this is a clean space, I'm a nurse practitioner, so, I can practice essentially. But being a nurse and being able to say like, hey, not only is this legal, but I also, just like a hospital, just like a doctor's office, like I still have someone looking and overseeing my job just to double check, just to make sure you're a good candidate, but
is there something going on here?
Yeah, your lips they're getting bigger.
Things are okay. I can feel the progressing here, but I just wasn't quite sure. So I had a little lip filler done a couple hours ago. So
they look a little beautiful.
Thanks. I feel like my upper lip's touching my nose.
It's not there yet.
Okay, well,
you're still there.
Okay, good. So got those things. And then, of course, like we already talked about the policies and the procedures, which are huge. Just knowing where to look when you have a question about something. And then also marketing.
Oh, yeah.
So they can use any post on any of our Smiley Instagram or Facebooks. They can crop it or screenshot it, crop it, and use it as their own. So you don't have to like come up with your own posts.
Yeah. And, you know, using, again, our community is a great resource. You know what I mean? We all, every time I see something, someone have a B12 post or a lead
Right.
post.
Yeah. Everyone shares it.
Everyone shares it, which is like, oh, my little heart flutters.
Yeah. We even had a nurse that had professional photos done. She used
our facility.
Yeah, this facility in the morning one day, and then all the ones that didn't have her in them, you know, ones that were like Botox bottles and filler, she literally shared those to the entire group to use as they want.
Like, I just think that alone, like that community, I think about, so when I was in Arizona and I knew I wanted to get into aesthetics, my charting, you're going to die. I literally had a face and I would put X's where I'd go and I would just have them sign it. It's pretty scary, right?
It's kind of similar to AR in a way, right?
Yeah, but I didn't have consent. I didn't have
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's, yeah. I see.
I just think about, like, I was, granted, I didn't do anybody in Arizona. It was just very close friends and family. Like, it was, like, thank God this was a very long time ago at this point. But I think about, like, it took our trainer in Georgia 3 months, right, just to get going. And that was like consents and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I just think I couldn't do it. I really couldn't. I don't think I could do it and be successful as quickly as it would be like onboarding with Smiley, because like just getting started alone is complicated. Like you mentioned, took her 3 months. But I think I would lose sleep, I guess. Because I'm like, oh my gosh, like.
So when you onboarded with Smiley, was the whole weight lifted?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was weight, like it just, yeah, for sure.
Were you like, oh my God, I haven't been doing any of this?
It was definitely one of those like, wow, good thing like I moved out of that state. No, like I said, I didn't really do much, and I actually never opened up an Allergan account. I bought product from my other provider who was doing it. Yeah. Okay. Yep. There's a lot of laws broke, but you know.
Moving on.
Hey, I'm not saying names, but
right.
I think about that.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And again, it's really scary because there's no laws or there's laws, but there's no regulation.
It's not like the Board of Nursing or like JCO that is doing scheduled visits at your facility.
Yes. Yeah. And I just think about like I said, my husband and I, we are actually going to start looking at a place for me to open, and I didn't even have. I had my name.
Yeah. Well, hey, your name does a lot.
But still, like, that was going to be on the door, and that was it. And I just think about, like, you know, how hard it is. And you hear this, too, from our injectors is, you know, aesthetics is profitable. But, like, it's not this, oh, my gosh, I'm going to start it tomorrow.
And I'm going to, like, be a millionaire.
And I want to be a millionaire and quit my job. And my husband can be a stay-at-home dad. And, you know, like, it is still a business.
It's not a get-rich-quick scheme.
No, it is very hard. And, again, it is tough economical times, right? So just following up with your clients, getting those clients in the doors, that alone takes so much of your time to like, and not have to worry about, oh, did I chart appropriately? Did I have them sign consents? Like, is my medical director signing off the percentage of charts he needs to be per the state law? Is he stepping foot in my facility as often as he should? Like, you know, if that guy or that woman who's your medical director is gouging you $5,000 a month or whatever that price you agreed on, but they're not doing their job on the back end,
like, then you have an even bigger problem.
Then that's another thing you have to worry about.
Yeah. And you're so right about it. Like, you have enough time just to follow up with your clients. Because I think about, I did start with Smiley, so I had all of that stuff done for me. And of course, I was working a full-time job at the time. But
I would get these girl message me at like 9 p.m. I got a good faith. I'm like, I'm enjoying my bubble bath.
I know.
What are you doing?
I used to wear you out. I know. I was terrible. Because I got off work at 5 p.m., so I injected from like 5:30 to like 10 p.m.
Midnight.
I mean, okay, I did sometimes. I did.
Jesus.
We now have rules, you know, to prevent Sweet Adrian and all of our mid-levels from being abused the way I abused her.
And you do stick up for them, and that's why I love having you. She's like, well, if you really want to see our injectors succeed, which we do, that is our whole entire goal. So we're balanced, my yin to my yang, or whatever that is. But yeah, you know, it's a full-time job.
It is. Yeah. And marketing, trying to get clients, that was huge. And I will never forget how impactful that was for me when I took my basic class. I'll never forget, Carla said, and I like this, she said, we can offer you everything you need to start your business, everything except clients. We can't get you clients. And I was like, oh, she can't give me clients. Crap. Okay, I've really got to think that one through.
Which is, you know, when you're probably, now that everything that you've learned and like everything we provide, you're the type of person like, man, just give me the clients. I can figure out my own consents and questionnaires. You're the opposite. Just give me the clients.
Yeah, that's kind of true. Yeah.
That is how hard this industry is.
Yeah.
And then those pictures you see on Instagram, your competitors, like these flawless lips, right? Like, again, that doesn't happen overnight. Yeah, those beautiful lips. That doesn't happen overnight. So you have to start getting those clients in the door, start practicing, building your skill and growing on it. And then going to other trainings, continuing your education, going to like events like AmSpa, the Aesthetic Next, all that, Learners and Legacy, Cadaver Labs. Like, it is, you should be very successful and very profitable in this industry, but it doesn't happen overnight. And having someone like us, which this is our full-time job, like, everything we do is to see you succeed, because when our injectors succeed, we succeed.
Right.
So just to know, like, hey, I have a whole team making sure that I'm practicing safely, compliantly, and I have all these resources. All I have to do is focus on what's the name of my business, how do I get clients in the door, how do I retain them, and then I think most importantly, how do I continue to grow in my skills and be the best of the best?
Yeah, educating yourself.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You don't have to worry about, you know, the nitty gritty, because not all nurses are built like your Mercedes.
Well, and you're right. And, you know, that's why one thing, I mean, to take it to the nursing world, anytime I come across a med-surg nurse, I'm like, thank you so much, because I'm an ER nurse. I could never do what you do.
Oh, gosh.
You know? So, like, just to think that, you know, we all have just so many different abilities, and it is more than just it's more than just a nursing position. You know, it's a business that you're starting. So it's a lot.
And it's really hard. I always like to, my dad back home, he ran a very successful pool company, built pools, he maintained them, very successful, but he worked constantly. And I grew up like, you know, he was a hard worker, very successful.
Yeah.
Being a business owner is so hard. And when I became a nurse practitioner, of course, he thought I was going to be some like cardiothoracic, I don't know. And when I went into wound care, he's like, ew, why? And then
they're fun.
I know, right? He doesn't know that I like to pop pimples and be gross. But then when I switched to aesthetics, he was even more like, what are you doing with your life? Like, why? Like, he never understood it. Like, same with you. Like, why did you leave the hospital?
Yeah.
And he was like, he was so worried about economy. He's like, well, you know, when someone economy goes bad, people are going to not get their Botox and filler. For sure, there's going to be those people who are going to have to drop it. But man, there's those people out there, they're like, I'll starve before I give up my Botox.
100%. You know, I didn't think about that. I was kind of the same growing up. My dad, he didn't own his own company, but he was the VP of a company that he still works for today. And he worked constantly, and he'd always say, baby, just be happy that you get to clock in and clock out of your job.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, when you are in a business like this, you know, you just work all the time.
But I think that's like why aesthetics needs to stay in nursing and healthcare, because we do clock in and clock out, but man, we're such driven human beings that like all of our injectors, even if they're doing it part-time, they're also driven. Because I think to be a nurse, like, you're already nuts, right? We're like, you're already going down a crazy road of healthcare. And when you decide to take that path into aesthetics, like, we're non-stop humans in the nursing field. We never stop learning. We never want to stop being the best. And we're so competitive. I really do. I really think nurses are the most competitive people ever.
I mean, yeah, like, as soon as you tell me that you didn't get a line on bed 12, I'm like, okay.
Oh, Lord.
You know. I might walk in there and be like, oh, yeah, I'll give it a try. But inside, I'm like, oh, you're going down.
But it is hard, you know, doing a business And
It
just having us, I feel like, is a resource. You especially, because like you're the front lines coming in for training, getting them trained.
You come up with all the good ideas.
We come up with them together. We really do.
Did we miss anything on our list?
Oh, let me check. Sorry. I think that was it. So we're in, we probably talked about this multiple times, but we're in multiple states. You know, we're in Arizona, Colorado, Georgia, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Missouri, Ohio, Tennessee, which is exciting.
And that's such a good point, because to onboard with Smiley, you do have to be living in one of those states that we are.
To be living.
Well, correct. But you have to be able to work in one of those
Yes,
states.
you have to work in that state. 'Cause we do have a couple injectors who they don't live in those states.
But they're on like the border or whatever.
Yeah, they're on the border, but they are very like you cannot inject in that state,
Right.
Because we're not obviously in there. But yeah, just I think we went over everything. Oh, okay, go ahead.
Will you forget it?
Probably. Okay, let me just keep going. All of our like contacts, like AMP,
Yeah.
the microneedling pen,
Yeah.
pin, just like those relationships that Carla, Mary, and Courtney have worked so hard to establish. You know, we get these great machines for essentially
a great price. Yeah, the group purchase orders are. Yeah.
And
I was able to buy an Aquifer machine at a great price. Yeah.
and it's like all the events that they allow us to come to. Like we do those virtual learnings, right, with Dr. King and Dave, like with AMP.
So those are all free.
Those are all free.
Yeah. Free education.
Yeah. Again, I'm in bed by that time. But
So mine was kind of along those lines.
Okay.
And I'm just like making up random numbers here. But for instance, like buying from these companies, so like exosomes, right? You know, their exosomes are sold in a box of 10. That's not a random number. That's an actual number. So let's say that each syringe costs $200, right? Well, if you want to buy 10 of those, that's $2,000. And again, they don't sell it singly, but we at Smiley, we sell that singly to you. And again, just random numbers because I'm bad at math, so I need to make them easy. But, you know, that's a huge benefit, is not having to come up with all the money for like that startup. And you're not having to place, you know, a $100,000 order with Allergan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can buy the, you know, one Botox bottle, one, you know, filler box that you need from us for your clients that week.
that no minimum order is.
Yeah.
And it's like
Huge.
full transparency. Like Carla and I have these conversations all the time. Because I'm like, we do so much. We really do. And I'm like, and we really don't require like a minimum,
Right.
require monthly, anything like that. Which
Yeah,
is
no monthly
insane.
fees. That's what everybody always wants to know too. What does it cost? Like, what's the startup
Because
fee?
it's so
And what's
scary.
the monthly fee? And I'm like, there's none. And they're like, well, what's the catch?
Yeah.
Well, I always say you can't be a mean girl. There's that. So
You say that?
I say it every time. And they're like, oh, goodness. Oh, thank goodness. That's awesome.
It is like it's a business model for sure. And like obviously the way Carla and Mary and Courtney have built this business, it works, right? But yeah,
Right.
not having that monthly fee, I just think is so crazy, because there's so many companies that like their minimum. One of our provider talks about it all the time. She's like, yeah, I was going to join this crazy company. It was like $800 a month on top of they get a percentage of the product that I buy, that then I sell. And then you are required to go back to more education with them. And that course is like $3,000. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know the name of it. I really don't, because I'm like, I don't even want to know the name of it. But yeah.
Well, that's pretty insane. So I actually just spoke to someone from Arizona that was interested in joining Smiley, and they told me just some really terrifying things.
Oh.
They wanted to leave the med spa that they were in. That's why they reached out to us, because of the practices that were going on.
Arizona's a Wild West. Like, obviously you heard my story. Yeah.
Nothing compared to you, but the physician didn't want to pay for multiple users in the charting system, so they all charted under one name.
And that is, oh my God.
Gets worse. They also, you know, people often want to know, can I buy a half syringe of filler? Well, what am I going to do with the other half? It's usually what
I
I
was
say.
talking about like injectors with clients.
Clients.
Okay.
Yeah, clients always want to know.
Because, you can buy a half a syringe.
But-
Absolutely.
So in this med spa, the physician required, so like let's say I did your lips and you only needed a half syringe, but I sold you a full syringe. That other half, they used it on somebody else.
Do they backfill it?
No, honey. I was driving and I had her on Bluetooth and I about wrecked. She told me they would just change the syringe. I mean, just change the needle. So I bring that up to say there are a lot of really scary things going on out there. And one of the most comforting things for me in joining Smiley was to know that that's not happening. It's not allowed. It's not even like thought about.
Let me just like pick my jaw up from the floor.
Exactly.
Because I'm like,
I was speechless.
well, and the fact that like, it's kind of like, you know, when people are like, well, I can do Botox or filler and I'm not a medical provider. And you're like, well, why? And they're like, well, my state law says that the doctor can delegate to me. Can the doctor delegate you to perform like an amputation? No. Can the doctor delegate for you to, remove that like that cyst or like to breathe that abscess? And no, it's like,
It still has to be within your scope of practice.
Within your scope of practice, absolutely. But like, if you take a step further, it's like, as a nurse, like we just like right from wrong, right? Like that is a clear like
delineation there.
Yes, like
it's wrong.
It is wrong. It's like I'm obviously glad she reached out to you, but like I just wonder like the people who are still in that practice, like where's that little like person on your shoulder saying like, are you gonna
should do this?
Do you really think that's the right decision?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I just think about that. Like, where is that little person telling you what, like, this, like, red flag, hello? And that's scary that, again, that's why I never wanted a doctor to put an IV in my patients because they don't know what they're doing.
Exactly.
Not that doctors don't know what they're doing, absolutely, but it's like stay in your lane.
Right. And there are some physicians that do IVs and that's fine.
Yes.
But for the majority, obviously, that's,
Yeah.
So
I got to learn more about this person.
Yeah. But what's great about it is the fact that she sought us out because she knows and she has heard from other people that that are with Smiley that we're really big on compliance and
You have to be.
and legality. So
You have to
that
be.
it felt nice, that she sought us out for that reason.
Well, we do hold our injectors accountable. We do
Yeah.
accountability calls. We do our required meetings because, God forbid something changes.
Yeah.
You're already so busy in your life, like your family, your friends, your other job. Like, what if something major changes and no one told you?
Right.
That's
You
really
didn't find
crappy.
out.
You didn't find out.
Just totally happened to me in the hospital.
Yes. Well, we have required meetings and like, we hold you accountable. So again, we don't want to have to stop our practice because this is someone's livelihood. Like this is what they're doing full time. So yeah, we're really big on it.
Yeah.
We are. I
think it's probably time.
I wonder if like Mary's or Jonathan or one of our other people are going to actually listen to this.
Or if they'll just post it.
They'll just post it.
I don't know.
Should we say like, Mary, if you listen to this, give us a heads up or code word blue.
Right. Code word blue in our chat.
Yeah. Code word blue when you post this and we'll find out. We'll find out and we'll update you guys if we ever do this again or if she's like, no.
Yeah. Yeah. If you never see us again, just know this is why.
Well, thank you. We're on Patreon, Spotify, Apple.
We're on Spotify?
I want to say we're on like all the platforms now.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
But Mary and Carla, they're filming right now. I don't know if am I allowed to say it or is it still a secret?
I mean, I'm sure you can say what it is.
They're
because they already won it. But yeah.
They're not on the blocks, but
they're judges for the blocks.
They're judges
because they won.
She said it first, and we weren't supposed to tell anybody. They can cut that out.
Yeah.
But they'll be back because I know that you guys probably like listening to them a little bit more than us.
Yeah, they're quite entertaining.
They are.
Yeah.
Well, cheers.
Have a good one.
Bye, guys.